Actor and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is reaching out to the Russian people.
That's right. He published a heartfelt 9-minute message on social media Thursday, directly appealing to them about the invasion.
The strength and the heart of the Russian people have always inspired me. And that is why I hope that you will let me tell you the truth about the war in Ukraine and what is happening there. No one likes to hear something critical of the government. I understand that. But as a longtime friend of the Russian people, I hope that you will hear what I have to say. It is a humanitarian crisis. Because of its brutality, Russia is now isolated from the society of nations. You're also not being told the truth about the consequences of this war on Russia itself.
Now, the former bodybuilder is very popular in Russia. President Putin's official Twitter page only follows 22 accounts, and one of them is Schwarzenegger's. Joining us now for more on this is Mike Abramowitz. He's the president of Freedom House. That's a nonprofit that advocates for democracy, political freedom, and human rights. Mike, thank you so much for spending a bit of time with us today. Russia's cracking down on the media. It has, those who speak out against the invasion of Ukraine effectively sidelined. How dangerous is it to be a journalist in Russia? And what do you make of the former governor of California making this direct plea to Russians in the military?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. With respect to the former governor, that was an incredibly effective piece of effort to reach directly to the Russian people. So I was impressed with that. I hope it gets through all the filters on information that President Putin has erected around Russia. I think the thing to remember about Russia is that since Vladimir Putin took power 20 years ago, he has been steadily attacking the news media. This is for a reason, because he knows that accurate information about his regime could lead to his downfall. And so this is not a new thing that we're seeing, but it's just an intensification of trends that have taken place over 20 years. It is extremely dangerous to be a journalist in Russia. You can get killed. And journalists have been killed by Putin and by his accomplices. It's also, it's not a surprise that you've seen over the last couple of weeks since the Ukrainian invasion started, dozens, if not hundreds of journalists trying to get out of Russia, as well as other human rights defenders. It is extremely dangerous to be in dissent to the Russian regime.
Mike, speaking of the deadly risk that journalists are facing in Ukraine, 2 Fox News employees were killed earlier this week when their vehicle came under fire outside of Kyiv. What type of risks are crews facing now as this war moves into its 4th week? Paint a picture for us.
Well, I think in general, it's very dangerous right now. It's a war zone. This is not unique to Ukraine. You saw this happen in the Vietnam War, during the Iraq War, that there are many brave Americans, people from other countries who go to these war zones at great personal risk to bring the news about the invasion, about the war to people around the world, and people do get killed, sadly. What we don't know about the situation I think there have been 4 deaths of journalists since in the last week. We don't know whether they were targeted for being journalists, which is very possible, or we don't know just if they got caught, unfortunately, in a crossfire. But there's no question it's very dangerous to be a journalist in Russia, in Ukraine right now.
The Russian journalists who we saw do the on-air protest on state TV, Marina Ovsyannikova, says that she now fears for her and her family's safety after that protest. What do you make of that? And on a global scale, just how dangerous is it when we see state-controlled media and do what's happening in Russia?
Well, that was one of the most bravest things I've ever seen a journalist do in recent years. I'm a former journalist, by the way. I worked for almost 25 years at the Washington Post, and I really admire the person that you mentioned. She knows that if you speak out in Putin's Russia, that you could get jail terms, you could get physically harmed, you could even get murdered. So she took her life in her own hands, or she kind of put her life at great risk when she did that spectacular move the other night. And so I fear for her, but I think the point is that there are very many brave journalists who are willing to speak up, and we have to admire them and support them in any way we can. Around the world, journalists, it's very dangerous to be a journalist right now. I believe in the last 2 years, there have been about 100 murders of journalists. There have been efforts to intimidate journalists, places like Mexico, Russia, many other countries, Belarus, Hong Kong. You have one of the top journalists in Hong Kong, Jimmy Lai, who's been probably going to be sent away for life just for publishing accurate information about the Chinese Communist Party. So it's a very dangerous time to be a journalist, and I really admire those who are continuing to really report the news, because accurate information about government is one of the cornerstones of a successful democracy.
Absolutely. Mike Abramowitz, thank you so much for your time putting this into perspective for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
I really appreciate you having me. Good luck, sir.